Hi everyone. We are going to talk algebra today. So on our section, our startup review table of contents, we're going to look at one-step equations, which has a toolkit page. So we will go to the toolkit page for this, and we're going to do one-step equations. Before I start, though, I want to talk about algebra. Um, Algebra, if you are going on in math, it's a tool which is kind of like breathing. Grade 9, you learn most of what you're ever going to learn in algebra in terms of like the approach to it and how you do it. Um, and it's all about the process. Okay. You're going to hear me say that so many times, you're going to get so tired of it, but it's the truth. Algebra is all about the process. You know, in the second example here, it says 2b equals 14. I know you know that b is 7 because you know that 2 times 7 is 14, but I need you to be able to solve, uh, don't write this down. This is just something I would write on the board if we were in class. Um, 412.793b equals negative 42.97624. Okay, what does b equal now? And you can't look at that and know what the answer is. Okay, you have to know the process. It's all about the process. In math, we often start with questions that students can look at and know the answer. And I understand why we do that. I kind of think we shouldn't. I think we should make you learn the process in order to so you know what's going on instead of just having things that are mathematically easy. But that's not how it's done. So that is how we are going to do it in this class. Okay. All of the algebra that you're going to do, you must show your work. And you must show your work the way I'm going to teach you to show your work. This is one of the things where it's non-negotiable. This is the way you do it because this is the way that is scalable for when the questions get harder, which does happen later on this year. So going to um, I'm going to make you develop good habits in the algebra realm. Okay. So the way I phrase this, the way I teach it is I want you to think about the variable. So first of all, the variable is the letter, okay? And we call it a variable because it could be different things. If I have an equation, and again, don't write this down. If I have an expression that says, an equation that says x plus 2 equals 4, well, this time x equals 2. And if I say x plus 3 equals 9, now x equals 6. So x has different values in different contexts, so it's variable. Whereas 3 is always 3. It's just always 3. So we call that a constant. Okay, so what I want you to picture is that the variable is this extremely antisocial creature, just wants to be alone, just wants everybody to go away and leave it alone. So what's bothering the variable? So if we look at this first question of x plus 5 equals 12, what's bothering the variable? What is stopping the variable from being alone? And that's the 5. The next question is, how do I get rid of it? So it's like my x was sitting here all on its own, doing its own thing, and somebody stuck a 5 next to it and like added 5 to it. So what we need to do is the opposite of adding 5, which is subtracting 5. So I'm going to write minus 5. I'm going to subtract 5 from this side. So whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other side. So I must subtract 5 from the other side. And on the left side, so what I've really done here, and you can write this if this helps you, what I've really done is I've changed this from x plus 5, now it's minus 5 equals 12 minus 5. Okay, mathematicians are lazy. I'm not going to write that line out when I can represent the same information like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross out the two 5's because plus 5 minus 5 equals 0. Okay, so that's what I do. And then I'm going to change colors because when you're learning this, it's really, really helpful to have one color shows what you do and one color shows what you have. Okay, so what I have remaining on the left side now is just x because I had x plus 5, I took away 5, that made 0, I just have the x left. And on the right side, I have 12 minus 5 is 7. And notice that I left a space here, okay? That's really important. And I fully acknowledge that on this question, this is all unnecessary, but we're all about the habits and algebra is all about the process. So I want you to be doing this process for these easy questions because very quickly the questions are going to get more complicated. And so showing the work this way and having the spaces is going to be very important. Okay, and I just need you to trust me on that for now. Okay. And this is all you should have written, okay? I don't want to see you write, like in here, 12 minus 5 equals 7, okay? Because like I've said already 100 times, this line becomes this line, becomes the next line, becomes the next line. You can't have a line in the middle that isn't part of the process. Like, yes, I know that 12 minus 5 equals 7, but you can't lose the x and then have the x just magically reappear again, okay? Okay, next example. Oh no, let's do this one first. Okay, so this time I have y minus 4 equals 6. What's bothering the variable is the 4. Somebody took 4 away from my y. I need to put 4 back, so I have to add 4. That means I have to add 4 to the other side. These 4's cancel out, and I now have y equals 10. Okay, now it's really important in these examples, I just happen to have the variable on the left side in all of these questions, but the variable could just as easily be on the right side. And you are always driven by what's happening to the variable. Okay, it's not by what's on the left, it's by what's happening to the variable. Okay, it's the variables trying to be by itself. All right. Okay, this example here, question 2b equals 14. What's bothering the variable this time is the 2. How is it related to the b? Well, 2 times a letter, or number times but beside a letter means multiply. So this is multiplied, so I need to divide. So I'm going to divide this side by 2, and I'm going to divide this side by 2. Now, you do need to do it with this fraction line to show division, okay? Not a divide, like don't have 2b divided by 2, because you need to get comfortable with this idea of canceling what's on the top of the fraction with what's on the bottom when it's all multiplied, because it's just so much simpler in the future. So this is the way to do it, okay? Now, what I have remaining on the left side is the b, and what I have remaining on the right side is 7. So there's my answer, okay? If I have m divided by 3 equals 15, this time somebody divided my m by 3, so this is divided. How do I undo division? I do the opposite, which is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply this side by 3, and I'm going to multiply this side by 3, okay? So I'm going to write it like this, okay? Be careful, don't do it like this because that looks like an exponent, right? Don't do that, okay? Make sure that it's really clear that you're doing multiplication. And here, it is really, really important, really important that your 3 is above the fraction line, okay? If you do it, if you have m over 3 and you go like 3 times, you can't do that, okay? You're you can't cancel out two things that are both in the denominator of a fraction, right? When we did the cross multiplication, you can only cancel things that are on the top and the bottom, like they have to be one on the top and one on the bottom. So if you write it like this and then you cancel out your threes, you're training your brain. You're telling your brain it's okay to cancel things that are both in the denominator, and it's not. So just always write it on the top, okay? And then I can cancel those, all right? And again, this is just these habits that will make life easier for you in the future. Okay, and then I get m equals 45. Okay. Now I have one more example here, which is this time I have something minus w. So this is still considered a one-step equation, although it actually takes more than one step to do. Students want to look at this and they say, well, there's a minus sign, so I'm going to subtract 7. Or I'm going to add 7, sorry. There's a minus, so I'm going to add 7. So don't write this down yet because I'm going to do it wrong. I just want to show you. So if I add 7 to this side and I add 7 to this side, okay. On my right side, I have 28. That's okay. And on the right side, well, if I have 7 minus w, 7 minus w plus 7, I have 14 minus w, which is not what I wanted. It's still okay. You actually will still get the right answer. That's one of the beauties of algebra, is that if you do the wrong thing, or if you do an unhelpful thing, as long as you do it correctly, you can still get the right answer, but it's not the most efficient way to do it. And that's not actually what you wanted to do. You wanted to get rid of the 7, okay? So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to erase this. All right, now write this down. I have a positive 7 here, so I'm going to subtract 7, and I'm going to subtract 7. And now I have 7 minus 7 is 0, and what I'm left with on the right side is negative w. And on the left side, I have negative w, and on the right side, I have 14. But I don't care what negative w is. I want to know what w is, okay? Well, to change the sign, the easiest thing to do is either multiply or divide, doesn't matter, by negative 1, okay? And if I have a negative divided by a negative, that gives me a positive, so now I have w. And on the right side, I have 14 divided by negative 1. A positive divided by a negative is a negative, so I have negative 14. Okay? So that is my answer. All right, and then down at the bottom here, I just have this little bit on checking your answers. Before I fill this part out, what I'd like you to do is go and watch the lesson on the next lesson on checking your answers, so you see the complete lesson on it, and then come back and watch the video on, I'll just fill in this last little bit of this, but I want you to watch the other video first because that explains this more thoroughly than just filling in the toolkit page. Okay, see you in a bit.